Thank you very much, thank you. Thanks. Good morning everyone and welcome to Spark Ignite 2022. It really is lovely to see so many familiar faces here and in person and not through a screen. This is our third year of doing Spark. We launched it way back in 2020 with a, some would say, slightly over-ambitious, epic full-day event. And then, of course, COVID hit literally within a few weeks. And due to the lockdown, our second conference had to be delivered digitally online, but rather than scale it down, somehow we managed to deliver 19 sessions across a week, which are all still on our YouTube channel if you want to go and check those out. So this year we've chilled out a bit and listened to your feedback and kept it short and sweet and simple. So we've kept the core elements that you like, but we've still got a really packed, exciting program ahead of us, but there's only two rooms going on this time. So we've got the main auditorium and we've got the studio, which is also on the same floor. We're going to have 6 talks happening throughout the day. Both happen concurrently in both spaces. So we have got a limited capacity in both rooms. So if you really want to hear a particular talk, please make sure you arrive nice and early and take your seat, otherwise you might not get one. Hopefully you've picked up one of these handouts on the way in. This has got everything you need from the itinerary down to the map of the venue, where the toilets are, where the food is, that's the important thing, and all the hashtags and tweets and Wi-Fi codes and things that you need for the day. If you've got any questions, just grab someone in a Spark t-shirt. They'll be in a black t-shirt. Just grab them and ask a question, or there's the information point right by the main front doors. We don't have anything silly like a fire alarm schedule or anything like that, so if you do hear a very polite man ask you to leave the building, please do so and assemble at the front of the building on the green there. Don't feel obligated to stay all day. What was one of the major things about the first time is that it was a bit of an epic time out of everyone's diaries, but we do hope you will. You're more than welcome to. And to entice you, we've got loads of free tea and coffee throughout the day, and do stick around for the lunch, which will be served upstairs, because that is absolutely delicious. And also, the bar will be open in the afternoon, so if you want to buy us a drink, you're more than welcome to do that. I don't actually drink, but Jonathan, I think he likes Bacardi and Coke. I think that's what he likes. I had a sneaky look at the delegate list this morning, and it is absolutely incredible how the range and the depth of creatives that we've got attending today. We've got 315 people signed up, and of course people that haven't booked in advance have been allowed to come in and sneak in too. We've got visual artists and printmakers and sculptors and street artists and photographers and illustrators and printmakers and designers and architects, stained glass artists, craft and jewellery makers, textile and clothes designers, stylists, music promoters, festivals, theatres, dance, events management companies, authors, copywriters, TV, film production, volunteers, charities and social enterprises, marketeers, creative strategic thinkers, consultants, co-working spaces, and computer games, web designers, virtual reality, robotics, and motion capture. So it just goes to show what an amazing area we live in with such a broad depth of creativity. And because of the nature of the programme, we've also got people who've got interest in renewable energy, health and well-being, and freelancers in and enterprise hubs. And although Spark is aimed at the district's creative community, so Leamington, Warwick, Kenilworth and Whitnash, many of you have travelled in today from Coventry, South Warwickshire, Nuneaton, Birmingham, and even Bishop's Tackbrook. I live there, so that's fine. The aim of Spark Ignite is to do exactly what it says on the tin, which is to bring our creative community together, to give our platform and energise and spark new connections. Our tagline, which is all over our publicity, is connect, celebrate, and collaborate. And that is the 3 things that we want to try and do every time we do Spark. So to get the most out of this, please do connect today. Talk to as many people as you can. Enjoy being around creators face-to-face again. And check out the marketplace, find out about new companies and what's going on. Swap contact details as much as you possibly can and find out who people are. If you want to follow those communications up, afterward, there's a LinkedIn group, if you're on LinkedIn, which you can sign up to, called Spark Ignite, and people's details are all on there. Celebrate. So after the 2 years we've just had, it is really good to be back in the building, being creative again. So do have fun, do engage with the talks and the speakers, try out the craft stations, look at the River augmented reality, and have a go at the motion capture stuff, which we're going to learn a bit more about later on. and then have a drink and just have a bit of a chat afterwards. You're more than welcome. And then collaborate. One of the great things about Spark 1, the original Spark, was the amount of people that came together and started to plan to do new projects. And if you've got a new project or need some help or support, today is the place to try and find that person. There's likely to be someone here that's going to be able to help you. You will be sent a survey afterwards. Jonathan will want to know what you thought of the programme. Please be honest and open. And more importantly, if you want to get involved next year and move more than just a delegate, let us know, because we're always looking for speakers and for people to get involved and add flavour to the event. And we do hope to have a Spark 4 next year. So before we begin and kick off, I'd like to thank my team, particularly Jonathan Branson, who's brought the programme together, who I always nearly kill from November through to February every year. Bronwyn and Carol Slight for helping and assisting, and our wonderful technical teams, facilities teams, and the customer services teams, and the media teams, and the collections engagement teams, all the teams that we have that basically sigh when I say we're just going to slip Spark into that really busy programme in February when they're already flat out, and they do everything they can to make it a success. And thanks in advance to all you speakers and to the panels and the exhibitors who, of course, make Spark what it is. And thank you to you for coming and for engaging and for listening to me waffle on. So the first thing we're going to do, we've got various themes running through today's sessions. And the first thing we're going to start with is innovation. So we're going to be listening to a bit about motion capture from Malcolm Barnes from Hollywood Gaming. Malcolm.
Thanks, David. Morning, everyone. Face-to-face, who'd have thought it? You know, I don't have to do silly things like say, bear with me while I just sort out my screen, or can you all put yourselves on mute? It's tremendous we have an opportunity to do this face-to-face. So thank you too to the wonderful team from Spark Ignite for putting this event on. Great job. So I'm Malcolm from Hollywood Gaming. We have been game effects specialists to the amusements industry for many years. We've been very privileged to work on some fantastic brand IP from companies like Hasbro, Paramount Pictures, Sega, and many, many more. And our job is to make the game that you play at a venue a really brilliant experience. More recently, we've moved into the immersive sector, working across augmented, virtual, and mixed realities, providing multi-sensory effects, mixing up the real world and the virtual worlds. But today we're here to talk about real-time motion capture and how it can be used across a wide number of different areas, from games, from film and TV, to advertising, to enhance your vlog, the service you're operating, your club, whatever it might be. But I thought today it might be interesting, rather than have me deliver this, this presentation, that we have somebody who's rather more intrinsically involved in the bespoke animation process and a real expert in their field.
Thanks, Malcolm. Hi everyone, thanks again for coming to listen today. My name is Newton, and no, I'm not the scientist. I'm a motion capture model, which is actually what I'm here to talk to you about. But first, a little bit of history. Humans have always loved trying to copy realistic movements in the things they create. You can see it in paintings, clockwork sculptures, and absolutely everywhere throughout the history of animation. Rotoscoping was a fun animation technique for a long while. That's where you film an actual, real-life object or actor, and then copy or trace over them later with ink and paint and such, while you're drawing in your 2D characters. Disney did a lot of this for its early films, actually. It's part of why the movement in them still looks so realistic even today. But then the era of 3D rolled around, and flat drawings wouldn't cut it in this new style. We needed to capture not just one angle of an actor, we needed to be able to film all of them, or at least all of their movement. So, along came motion capture. Motion capture, or mocap, started off pretty clunky. The wonderfully smooth movement and fine details that you see in me definitely didn't always exist. You've, probably heard jokes about actors having to dress up in black spandex with ping pong balls taped all over them, and, well, in the early days, that description of things wasn't too far off. You'd have these big old rings of cameras strung up all about the place, and actors with tracking dots, or, yep, ping pong balls, stuck to their body, limbs, and head. It was slow, it was expensive, it took a lot of space and expertise to be able to use, and unless you were a big budget movie studio, it was extremely difficult to have access to any of it. Nowadays, the technology has gotten a lot better. It's faster, smoother, easier to use, and we've got real-time rendering now too. That means that you can see how the computer is seeing your movement at the exact same time as you're moving around in the first place. Oh, we also have facial tracking as well, which has come a long way from the uncanny valley it used to be, even if the movie industry uses it for some questionable purposes at times. Mocap's still not always the most accessible of technologies, but that's what we're here for. Like my colleague was saying earlier, it's easier than ever to get your own bespoke animations off the ideas board and into reality. They're not just for big budget movies anymore, they're for anything you can imagine. Whether you're in the games industry, looking to make your own short film, for education, advertising, online avatars, or even just promotional material for your yoga or taekwondo club. Anything that could be animated can be. That was beautiful. So, how does this all work? Let's deconstruct things a bit. At its heart, the way we do mocap comes down to your scene, our suits, and the software to bring it all together. Now, I'm not going to go getting too technical with things, so let's just start with an overview of the scene. Before you do any sort of filming, everything needs to be planned. You need to know what the setting is, have your 3D models ready, and, most importantly, plan your choreography. It is really important to have the choreography of your scene 100% nailed down before you even get to the mocap recording session. You wouldn't want your actor to get all suited up and ready to record if they don't know what they're meant to do, so save everyone some time, make sure you and your actor have talked things over and maybe done some practice runs beforehand. Next up is the equipment side of things, aka our mocap suits. No cameras are required here, everything these smart suits need to read your movement is already built in thanks to all these small sensors located at key positions on the body. We'll set things up, your actor puts on the suit, we double check all the sensors are in the right place and everything's calibrated, and it's good to go. Which brings us to the software. The suits communicate wirelessly with our computers, meaning that all we have to do is hit record and there you have it. We can then export your animation for you to use in Unity, Blender, Cinema 4D, Autodesk Maya, Unreal, or practically any 3D software of your choice. From there, it's just a matter of attaching the animation to your character model and enjoying realistic movement with hardly any effort. And I do mean hardly any effort. From the start of zipping up a smart suit to placing the finalized animation on your character, it can be only a matter of minutes to have complex, completed, and entirely bespoke motion on screen. This is compared to the days of work it can take for even basic movements to be done through keyframe animations, which is where an animator needs to micromanage every joint on their model just to take a single step. I've got to have at least one animator here in the crowd today, don't I? How long have you guys spent doing and redoing walk cycles? So, wait one moment. How are we still doing for time? Are we still good? Yeah. Okay, so I know there's no doubt plenty of you in the audience with questions or doubts, so let me help dispel a couple of mocap myths. First up, motion capture is clunky. Not always. While optical, camera-based systems are still some of the most popular for high-end productions, smart suits such as the ones we use are far sleeker and more portable. And when I say portable, I mean that we've actively tested them by popping nothing but a suit and a laptop into a backpack, hiking it over to the local park, and coming out of it with some very useful footage. Anywhere you need a recording done, we can be there. Next. Motion capture takes a lot of resources I don't have. Not anymore. By offering it as a service, we're able to provide access to motion capture to pretty much everyone, whether you're a big budget game developer or just a film student looking for an extra edge in an assignment. If you're unsure, come have a talk with my colleagues after the presentations, and I think you'll be pleasantly surprised by what we have available. Motion capture is really complicated. Yes and no. On your side of things, you don't need to worry about any of that stuff. Between the suit, the software, and our technical know-how, full setup and implementation is provided for you. Let us handle the complicated kajiggery so that you can focus on the perfect choreographed shot. Mocap doesn't let you see what you've recorded until you've exported the data. Perhaps not every system, but ours does. We can provide immediate playback of any recordings for you to view and decide whether they were what you wanted or if you'll need to do a second take. Immediate playbacks won't be cleaned up in the same way we'll make sure the final exports are, but they're quality enough to give you a good idea of what the final animation will look like. Mocap animations never look as good as traditional animation. I'll let you folks be the judge of this one. Good is pretty subjective, and I know, I reckon I've looked pretty good standing up here in front of you all for the last 10 minutes. I'll look silly dressed up in a mocap suit waving my hands at nothing. Now, this one I can't fully deny, but even if you humans do look a bit ridiculous at times, I can personally attest that us mocap models look pretty amazing by the end of it. It's up to you whether that makes it worth it or not. And that's me done. Thank you all for listening to me today. I'll be passing you back to Malcolm for now, but I hope to see you soon. Bye everyone.
Thanks, Newton. I'll buy you a beer later. That's the end of the formal presentation part. It's not the end of us. My colleagues, Mark, Kai, and Yuchi are with me, and we are downstairs in the lower foyer. Please come down, ask any questions that you've got. You want to get up close and personal with the motion capture suits, see some of the outputs. Come down and see us. We're here all day, so right until the close of session today. Which just leaves me to say, have a fantastic day. Thank you so much for listening, and we hope you found that really informative. Thank you.
Right, everyone, do go downstairs. I've already had a look at the suits, and I've already signed Jonathan up to have one of those on his Twitter feed, so look at that later. The next session starts in literally 5 minutes, so have a quick comfort break. If you want to see the Arts, Health and Wellbeing session, please stay in here. If you want to hear us talk about our new grant scheme and how you can have some cash, make your way to the studio. Thanks a lot. See you soon.